really think you have a chance against us, Mr. Cowboy?
Hey, motherfucker. What you like to do?
Oh, I don't know. Play chess. Screw.
Well, let's play chess.
They give off to Jonathan Taylor. Jump cutting his way close to the goal line. He's in there. Touchdown. I-N-D-Y. Jonathan Taylor.
Wheeler finds Clark from the logo.
Here's Halliburton into the front court. Mishandled it, but gets a shot. Hits it. Hits it.
John, I have never been better to be on the air with you here in Indianapolis, a place where so many of my dreams have come true.
The Ride with JMV on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Holy hell, what a day do we have going on for in a Friday. It's like they said, you know, we had the first Bud Light Blue Friday at Taylor's Pub in Nora. That is Westfield Boulevard right there. That is 86th Street right there at the intersection, one of our favorite places. We have Dolphins Colts tickets to give away courtesy of our incredible friends at Zinc. Thank you very much. While you're here, that means you need to get here. And then they said, you know what? We're not going to have you be on the inside today. We're going to have you be on the outside today. So we are on the deck. We've got the football toss going. I've got the music during the breaks cranked. I'm going to drink some ice-cold Bud Light. Dev's the engineer. We're going to sound good. James back in the studio is going to get us to you. And we have a lot of interaction to get to over the course of this and then a fourth hour with Colts Happy Hour coming up on what is an incredibly busy weekend. I don't even know where to begin with this, honestly. I know that you get the Caitlin Clark news from yesterday, and Jake and I kind of introed that. You got the Fever and you got the Sky downtown later on tonight. Eddie Garrison is going to tell you all you need to know coming up at 7:15, and then 7:30 is that tip time. That is outstanding, but so much of this is about the football. So much of this is about, thank you, my brother. I appreciate that. So much of this is about the start of this season. And the theme has been throughout, Ice Cold Bud Light, right back at you. The theme throughout has been, all right, can this be different? And this is how you start being different. Because a lot of what we've witnessed so far, at least offensively, at quarterback, I mean, there's a little bit of the same here, right? And you're going to say, well, wait a minute, Daniel Jones, this is different. But, I mean, really, it is kind of, there you go, Travis, kind of the same. Kind of the same. And we'll get to that coming up in a minute. But there are some differences here. The defense that the Dolphins will see is, I think, especially on the back end, going to be massively different in the way that they play, the way that they look, hopefully the way that they play in the way that they look, with Lou Anarumo being the defensive coordinator, and then prioritizing, high-dollar prioritizing a corner and a safety for that very reason. And then prioritizing making sure that the coordinator has the assets that he is looking for to build. Now, we can certainly poke some holes in that because you wonder a guy like Xavier Howard, who was like a lot of us on the couch this time a year ago and is going to be out there playing. We do kind of wonder about that, but that part is different. That part is different. I look at what needs to be different coming up on Sunday, and you're starting with getting off to a good start. Not since 2013. The leading receiver for the Colts in that game against the Raiders, if you remember. Everybody always kind of goes with the common knowledge of Terrell Pryor was the quarterback for the Raiders back then. That's bad enough, right? But if you remember then, the leading receiver was Reggie Wayne. Reggie Wayne is in his fourth season as the wide receivers coach for the Colts. I mean, not only 2013, I was trying to put that in terms of, if you look back 11 years, what were we doing like 11 years prior to 2013? That's when you really put this start of the season winless streak in perspective. And it really is bad. It is as bad as you can get. And there's a lot more than, honestly, what matters is winning games and what is the difference between winning and losing. But you have to build a trust with a fan base that a lot of them have been severed in that category. I think it was I think something, I forget what publication it was. Hell, I don't even know what it was. But the lack of optimism going into an NFL season, at the top of the list would be the Indianapolis Colts and their fan base. And I've always said this to you, that is with good reason, because you have no reason to until they prove it to you. With good reason, that's exactly how you feel until they prove it to you. Like, you're skeptical right now at the start of this season. Some are upset because the third-year, fourth overall selection quarterback is going to be backing up and holding the Microsoft pad. You're upset about that. But really what it gets down to is this team winning, bucking what has been a long-standing trend, and giving you something to be excited about. And that starts with Sunday. And I really don't think that it matters to you who's under center as long as it happens. I mean, really, it hasn't mattered in the past, right? I mean, you didn't care if it were Gardner Minshew. You know, you really want to see Anthony Richardson. You didn't care at the moment if it were Joe Flacco. I mean, as they have said in years past, any port in a storm right here, holy hell, anything. So now what you have is you become reliant upon a career resurgence. And Chris Ballard has brought up, well, you know, Baker Mayfield for one, or Sam Darnold being examples of reestablishing a career with a change of landscape. Now, there are some not so subtle differences there. One is Sam Darnold had like 19 different landscape changes. And, hey, okay, here I am. And, oh, by the way, we've got arguably the best wide receiver in the NFL. Maybe I should just throw it to his ass. Okay, that's great. Now, the lasting memory in Minnesota wasn't great in the postseason, but the regular season, his numbers during the regular season, that were really good. He did reestablish a year ago in Minneapolis, if you remember that correctly. Baker Mayfield certainly has reestablished himself with a much better product down in Tampa. But I do think these are a little bit different of circumstances. But, you know, Chris Ballard at the time really could have been talking about two quarterbacks that they have. He could be talking about Daniel Jones, the starter. He could be talking about Anthony Richardson, the backup. But now we know in week number 1, thank you, my brother, this is reliant upon Daniel Jones, who was signed back in March. The quarterback competition between he and Anthony Richardson, and he was named starter after the training camp. We know that to be true. He is in season number 7, and the numbers are nothing to write home about, but neither are the Colts' numbers here recently. We know that to be true, especially with success in terms of the quarterback position. 6 years with the Giants. He was released. He wanted that. He got it. Spent about a month or so, maybe a month and a half, I think, in Minnesota with the Vikings. 24, 44, and 1 as a starter. 64% of his passes completed. 14,500 plus yards, 70 TDs, 47 interceptions. Really on the ground has done some work, 2,100 yards, 15 TDs on the ground as well. But that's what Colts fans and the Colts themselves are hoping they can play off of, is that. And really, it starts at a very low level with this group, at an incredibly low level. And that is, can you just get this offense in the right positions for success? Get guys in accurate positions for success? Can you just do that? Would that work? And then, you know, once you throw the ball in the right spot, you don't have to be spectacular, but can you do things without ultimately, you know what I mean, doing things here, like turning the ball over? Can you do stuff in that fashion? That's what the Colts are looking for. And hopefully, if it does work out, I think a lot of momentum could be built on Sunday. And I know it has to be disappointing for the pro Anthony Richardson fans out there, both in the media and the fans in this case, that don't see him. But that is just where you are with him right now. You're looking for anything else, anybody else that doesn't tear you apart by virtue of making mistakes, both physically and mentally. And that is the hope that they get from one Daniel Jones coming up in week number 1. And one of the most, and it almost seems like that I have said this exclusively for the past, 10 years, probably so. Not 10 years, but certainly 5 years. No doubt. But you look at it this way, you start out losing this game, and can you imagine the conversations and the thoughts going into Denver for that late afternoon contest in week number 2? So what I'm saying is you get off to a good start, and that does feel good. That is leading to a short-term week 1 feel-good story because you are bucking the trend. You are going against the grain, or maybe you're just starting new, even if your quarterback is going into year number 7. But however and whatever means you do it, you just have to do it. And similar to Daniel Jones, Lou Anarumo, his era is officially underway, and things did not end well in Cincinnati for Lou Anarumo. We know that to be true. When he had players, and that's what the Colts have tried to do. They have tried to give him players he feels best benefits what he does defensively. And they have tried to do that. Early on, he had the players, he had success. In the latter portions, the players, the success, it all faded to the point where the Bengals decided to cut loose and go in a different direction. So Lou Anarumo, similar to that. Now the Colts also bucked the trend as we have witnessed in the offseason. Mooney Ward, you bring in. Cam Bynum, you bring in. A safety and a cornerback. And what you're thinking about now is pressure and playmaking ability. And, we talked about Xavier Howard off the couch. Kenny Moore's been here for a while. Nick Cross is involved into a nice safety for them, too. There is so much lean on that secondary. But if you're going down a new path with the secondary, you have to look at, all right, what are you going to get out front? Because you have, off the edge, had guys that have been decent to good. You need more of that threat to be, certainly in this case, a hell of a lot more than decent than just good. So the most important defensive player may not be what we're thinking about in terms of what Lou Anarumo looks for in a secondary. Laiatu Latu in year number 2. Chris Ballard said upon drafting him, if you remember a year ago in the spring, we just got the best player defensively in the draft. He's going to have to show that he is evolving into that category, because that is necessary for this team to be good, for this team to play well, and again, for this team to make the not-so-subtle change that everybody that may think this is the same old, maybe all of a sudden you can spark a new thought process with it. And again, all that begins coming up on Sunday. There is a lot riding on this week number 1, without question. And the Dolphins, what is funny about it, not in an exact property, but in a similar proposition, the Dolphins have that category going too. It's, hey, wait a minute. We've been very good in the past in September, 7-4 in September here recently under Mike McDaniel. And then things fade. But you got a quarterback that you hope to stay healthy. You've got skill position players. You hope to be healthy in Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle on the outside. You have a reclamation project, much like I mentioned with Xavier Howard. You had somebody else that was on the couch, and Darren Waller as well. He hasn't even practiced. He may not even play a significant role at all. And Achane is a guy out of the backfield that also has dealt with a variety of injuries. But what you're trying to say with that group is if they're healthy, and they have been healthy for the most part in September, they can be really tough. So a lot of what I just described defensively for the Colts is sure to be tested coming up on Sunday. But again, things have to be different. And that's what you're hoping for on Sunday. Colts fans are, and Colts fans need that like you would not believe. Thank you very much, James. It was the Athletic, the Hope-O-Meter. And the lowest level on the Hope-O-Meter would be that of the Colts. Hey, listen, I said this going back to the start of training camp. I can't remember a time when fans around here were this apathetic about the product. And as I've stated so far, things have to change. Things have to change, or you know that you're going to see a massive changeover. And as I've mentioned in the past, if things go down a similar path, I will bring up why in the world, if you're going to reboot now, why haven't you started that reboot process earlier? And that's not a conversation for today. The conversation for today is looking at Sunday and how things can change, how things hopefully change, how things, as I put it, have to change coming up on Sunday. So we got that for you, 239-1070. The text line number 317-239-1070 as well. I want to reiterate to you, Bud Light Blue Friday starts all over again, and we are at one of our favorite places. That is Taylor's Pub in Nora. I know my friend Chris Hagan of Fox 59 is going to drop in a little bit later on. Cannot wait for that. Cannot wait to see him. We have a variety of guests, including Joel A. Erickson of The Star. He's going to join us a little bit later on in the show. Charles Arbuckle, who is a part of the Colts radio network. Many road games I know the former Colts tight end is going to be a part of this season for the Colts. And we will talk to Charles coming up here in the 5 o'clock hour regarding the start of this season and the Colts most certainly. Charles joins us at 5:30. IU college football game number 2. Don Fisher, voice of the Hoosiers, 5 o'clock hour is going to join us. Kennesaw State coming up tomorrow. Don joins us at 5. And week 3 of the high school football season's got some nice matchups on it once again, too, as we start to really shape and form into the expectations of the high school football season. Bob Lovell, per usual, from Indiana Sports Talk is going to join us. He is at the bottom of the hour. I did want to obviously get to this. Last night was the start of the season. And I, honestly, that had a damn bit of everything in it last night with the Cowboys and the Eagles. Now, we all know, sitting around here, all you were really rooting for was, A, your pick in our Pigskin Pick'em with Heaven Hill Distillery. You're either rooting for that and your pick, which, by the way, mine came through. I both in the Pick'em. We did the pick 'em with Heaven Hill Distillery, and then we did the spreadability, the pick against the spread with a lot of you in the spreadability league. And I did cash in on both of those. Picked the Eagles, but the Cowboys to cover. And that's what took place last night. Now, what else took place last night was an absolute soap opera of ridiculousness that started with Jalen Carter spitting on Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott and getting kicked out of the game for that. Now, understand, I'm 55 years of age. A lot of you went to the Hawk Tua girl. You know what I mean? I didn't initially go to the Hawk Tua. I went to the Seinfeld spitter episode. Like the JFK, that Seinfeld was basically, akin to JFK when it came out back in the early 90s. The spitting, that was the Keith Hernandez. The Roger McDowell was the second spitter in the episode, right? That's what I was reminded of last night, because we learned a little bit later on in the broadcast, as Mike Tirico of NBC pointed out, that Dak Prescott actually spit first. Now, he spit to the ground, and then Carter walked up. I'll be honest with you. Like, I do spit. I can't help it. There is 0 persons in the world that's ever stepped on any sort of field. And obviously, when I played baseball, was in high school. But you've never stepped on a field where you haven't spit. Everybody, it's a rite of, I don't know what it is. You may not ever spit, and then as soon as you step on a field of any kind, you spit. However, nobody spits directly onto somebody unless you're one of the bigger horse's asses of all time. Seriously, that's what you get. And, you're lucky that you're a talented player, because if you weren't, and obviously that big and be able to whip some people, I mean, those are fighting words, right? That's a fighting spit. That gets your ass whipped. Now, probably not him, because he's a big dude and he wouldn't have any of it. But normal circumstances would dictate that there's no way anybody can handle that. So, yeah, that was horse's ass behavior. But I will say this, with Dak Prescott in mind, everybody spits on the – nobody's ever stepped on a field of play of any kind and not spit. You don't spit on the basketball floor. We understand that. No, I think people spit on the tennis court, don't they? Is that not etiquette? They may not spit in golf according to etiquette. I'm guessing in the PGA Tour they don't spit. The Live Tour they probably hawk to all the time, right? Because they go a little bit against the grain. But last night I mentioned had a little bit of everything for us. It was pure soap opera-like entertainment. Two teams that were chippy, which I dig. You had weather in a 57-minute break in the second half because of a lightning in the Philadelphia area. And really, you had offense that oftentimes the defense on the opposition was not going to stop. And then Colts fans look at Jalen Hurts and go, oh, man, there was once upon a time there was an opportunity there, and it kind of makes you sick. It kind of makes you sick watching this guy. Jalen Hurts, to me, is what they had hoped to get in Anthony Richardson. And you watched Jalen Hurts last night, and that should show you exactly how far Anthony Richardson is away from any of that. Nowhere near any of it. That was the greatest example. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Yeah, the opportunity was there in the past. All right, quick break, and we shall return. That was last night, the start of the NFL season. We've got college football season that resumes this weekend. I mentioned Don Fisher, voice of the Hoosiers, joins us. We have Charles Arbuckle, a little bit more on college, but probably more on the Colts, the Dolphins matchup from the Colts Radio Network. The former Colts tight end is going to join us coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. Joel A. Erickson of the Star, first and Joel on Fox 59. And James, did I hear you correctly? Joel was going to show up here at Taylor's Pub, but now he's not. Is that accurate?
I don't know if the plan was ever for him, set in stone to show up. He was considering it. He had asked where you guys were going to be, but unfortunately it does not seem like he will be able to make it.
That is kind of telling me, even if you're at that low level, that tells me your ass is going to show up. You know what I mean? That's what it tells you. Go, hey, you know what? I'm showing up. Even if you, ask about it, that means you're showing up. Joel's not going to show up.
He may have intended to, but something may have come up. Who knows?
All right. Joel A. Erickson, not live with us, but will join us, of course, of the Star. And he does First and Joel on Fox 59, I think CBS 4 as well. Chris Hagan's going to join us here live a little bit later on. And the high school week 3 with Bob Lovell. Our location, Taylor's Pub. I know Chelsea's going to join us a little bit later on because she's smarter than all of us. There's Kyle, man. He runs this place like absolute crazy. And, man, my dude over there can wear himself a pair of glasses and look good doing that right there, let me tell you. Taylor's Pub in Nora, 86 and Westfield Boulevard. Dolphins Colts tickets. Our friends from Zinc Bud Light are here. Where are you? Join us if you're thinking about getting tickets to the game coming up on Sunday. We have that. I have Bullseye Event Center passes for you as well, and more stuff to drop, including the latest on Caitlin Clark with the Fever coming up later on tonight as well with the Chicago Sky. That tip is at 7:30, 7:15 with Eddie Garrison right here on The Fan. The stream, the app, HD Radio, 317-239-1070. That is the text line. If you want to lob something in, or if you want to get on the phones, you can do it at 239-1070 as well. The AAA Membership Lounge via YouTube Live. I'm waving at you right now. Thank you all for joining us. Football is officially back on this Friday, a Bud Light Blue Friday at Taylor's Pub in Nora, 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Hey, welcome back. This is a Bud Light Blue Friday, everybody. We are glad to be at Taylor's Pub. We're in Nora, 86 in Westfield Boulevard. Chelsea going to join us in a second. Kyle also hanging out. Hey, shout out to my man Jimi Hendrix. Jimi Hendrix of Live Nation. Hey, Jimmy, man. Somebody had mentioned, I think his, what is Machine Gun Kelly used to go by? He goes by MGK or something like that now. I want to give away some tickets. I forgot to tell Jimmy that. So, yeah, Jimmy, send them. We'll give those away. Give those bad boys away stat whenever you want. Now, seriously, Bud Light Blue Friday, speaking of giving away tickets, Dolphins and Colts, that is coming up. On Sunday, we've got your chance at tickets. Get here and get yourself signed up. We've got a football toss. If you're good at that, ice cold Bud Light. My guys from Zinc brought us some neutral as well. That is right here. You can see the table before me, and we are rocking like crazy. 317-239-1070 for your Week 1 Colts reaction and thoughts, and then for the season. I gave my prediction for the season yesterday, and I'll get down with that coming up a little bit later on in the show as well. Joel A. Erickson, we've got Charles Arbuckle, we've got Don Fisher. And on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline right now, Express Pro Tire and Auto every Friday with our 13 Central Indiana Joe Childers operated locations will bring our good friend from Indiana Sports Talk, Bob Lovell, to us and then to you for week number 3 of the high school football season. Hello, Bob. How are you?
I'm great, John. How are you?
Bob, where do we begin on this week number 3? Because it always seems like at this point in time we go, I can't believe how fast this is going.
Well, make it even faster. At the end of the night tonight, it'll be 1/3 of the regular season completed. So I don't know. This is how it goes.
Yeah, it is. What's piquing our interest to start with? You've got. I will say this. I think especially in 6A, we can start. You have some incredibly talented teams across the board. I know we always say that, but you can especially say that, I think, at the start of this season. You see a lot of these teams that have been really good very early across the board.
It's been really fun to watch. I mean, it's a really balanced class. I think, quite frankly, they all are. But you start out tonight, Brownsburg hosting Franklin Central. Brownsburg's number 1, Franklin Central number 12. Brownsburg is legit. A lot of young guys back from last year's championship. One of your favorite teams, Center Grove, ranked number 2. They're hosting Marion. I think one of the best games of the night is Hamilton Southeastern hosting Avon. HSE is number 5, Avon number 6. Great matchup. One that might slide under the radar, but Lawrence North taking on East Central. East Central won the 4A a year ago. They're really, really good. So I think up and down. Fishers at Noblesville, I think, is a great game. Ben Davis at Pike. Zionsville Westfield's another great game in 6A. So literally, I think every one of these matchups has some potential to be tremendously played games, well-contested games.
Yeah, I agree with you right there. You get you mentioned Brownsburg, Franklin Central, both started out at 2-0. I feel for our friends up in Grant County because I think Marion is 4A at 1-1 of the season and venturing down to near me at Center Grove. I'm assuming that probably won't end well for them coming up later on this evening. That's going to be a tough one.
Yeah, it has the potential to be a very tough one, to be honest. Because it's just one of those things where, listen, you have and Marion is cycling through kids. They have not started out as well as they'd expected. They lost last week, and so, but you're playing an extremely good team in Center Grove without question.
That's Bob Lovell, Indiana Sports Talk, Week 3 high school football. That is later on tonight. I don't think we have talked at all about this team. And in the past, Bob, it's been about Columbus East in Bartholomew County.
Right.
But it has the past couple of seasons now, and especially this one, been about the Bulldogs of Columbus North starting out at 2-0. They face 0-2 Southport, which should not be an issue for them. That is kind of an under-the-radar, really good football team in 6A to start this season.
There's no question, John, and they've just gotten a little bit better and a little bit better. Had a really nice run last year, bunch of guys back, play a really good schedule. The trivia question for the day, John, is that I did my student teaching at Columbus High School, which then split into Columbus North, that it was Columbus High School back in 1973 when I did my student teaching. And so I always have a fond spot in my heart for Columbus North.
Let me tell you this. There is a famous former Bulldog that when I was at Indiana State, now I used to whip his ass in the pickup games. Like me and my Greene County guys would take him to task, but Kevin Johnson, if you remember the name Kevin Johnson,
Absolutely.
Actually, he is an incredibly good dude, was incredibly talented at basketball back in the day coming out of Columbus North, and he was a part of that particular team, was with Tate's Locke back at Indiana State. But Kevin Johnson of Columbus North High School back in the day, who I think still listens to the show and probably is not a big fan of what I just said.
well, everybody's a fan of yours, John. You know that.
Oh, man, there's no doubt. It's Bob Lovell with us. You're Plainfield Quakers, 2-0.
Right.
Yeah, new pal, obviously. What's up, buddy? Good to see you, pal, Matt. New pal, a top 5A at 2-0 as well. Listen, there's a lot of really good teams, but new pal looks certainly at the beginning to be the class of this group so far.
I would agree with you. They're very, very good. Obviously, won a championship a year ago, came back. It's just amazing what Coach Ralph does year in and year out. They're one of the most prolific and consistent teams in the entire state, and this team is no different. It's just one of those very crowded classes where they are, though. There's a lot of really good football teams. But my Quakers are playing Mooresville, annual battle, big matchup, big rivalry game. I've played in a couple of those games. I know how that feels. Quakes are off to a good start. They're ranked number 7. Mooresville's undefeated. So that's at Mooresville. So be a lot going on in that game.
So Bob Lovell's got you covered with all of it later on tonight on Indiana Sports Talk. I wanted to give some love because I don't think we've talked about Franklin. Your hometown team is off to a 2-0 start. I'm going to bring that up because they're at Perry Meridian, and the Falcons are 1-1. But my neighbor from Paradise Day Watson, I know Jeff Watson is a part of the officiating crew at Perry Meridian for that one, and a very impressive start for Franklin through the first 2 weeks of the season.
Yeah, they've started well. Chris Call, I think, is an underrated coach. He's tremendous. His kids have played well. Had a big win, obviously, last week. Bunch of guys back from a year ago. They kind of felt like this would be a team that could play well, and so they got a big matchup tonight, no question. Obviously, I think one other game, John, we need to pay attention to. Chittard hosting Ron Colley. What a game! It doesn't matter where it's played. It doesn't matter what sport. That's a great matchup.
No doubt about that. Bob Lovell is with us. My friend John Martin on the text line. 317-239-1070. Want you to talk up Beach Grove. The Grovers off to a fantastic start.
It is, and it's not something they've done in a while, but they are off to a great start. The thing about them is they haven't shied away from playing a really good schedule. They've got guys, they're ranked 13th in 4A, which I think is a tremendous accomplishment for them. They play Cecina tonight at home. I think they might find themselves going to 3-0 with this, and that'd be a fantastic way to begin the season and a program that's getting better and better.
All right, Johnson County, Trafalgar, the location. Indian Creek off to a 2-0 start of the season, getting coveted Christian Bob later on tonight.
They're really good. Indian Creek's really good. I mean, they are a solid football team. Covenant Christian similarly good, but the Creek is playing awfully well right now, John, and wouldn't surprise me if they could pick up another one tonight.
So Bob Lovell, not only high school tonight, but certainly collegiately tomorrow, IU and Kennesaw State. 11 a.m., your coverage begins right here. That is a noon kick from Bloomington, Southern Illinois, and Purdue. Hey, listen, whatever for the Boilermakers. It was so exciting for them to be able to see that, witness that.
Right.
I know it was at the expense of our good friends up in Muncie. But for those in West Lafayette, that was a feel-good Saturday to open things up last week, wasn't it, Bob?
Yeah, and I think they continue it tomorrow. I mean, I think you get Coach Odom knows how to win, how to run a program, has come in, rejuvenated a Purdue team that clearly needed it. And so I think it'll be a hard – they didn't get a lot of love from the schedule makers at the Big Ten, but I think this is a solid football team that's going to surprise people.
Bob Lovell's got you covered on Indiana Sports Talk tonight, tomorrow night as well. He is legendary on that show throughout the state of Indiana. And where are you going for dinner before you hit the show tonight?
Brother, Friday night routine here is to call the American Legion and order dinner, and I'll swing out there and pick it up and come home, and my wife and I'll enjoy a nice dinner at home.
Oh, man. You've got
You're jealous. I know you are.
I am. You have every base covered, buddy. You do. Hey, it's a pleasure to have you on every Friday.
Thanks,
and have a great show tonight. Tomorrow we'll do it again next week.
Thanks for the kind words, too. Thanks. Have a great weekend.
Bob Lovell, Indiana Sports Talk on this show brought to you by Express Pro Tire and Auto, your 13 Central Indiana Joe Childers operated locations every Friday with Bob right here. He is on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. You know, we're at Taylor's Pub in Nora. This is 86th and Westfield. Here's what I love about this time of year, and I love about being at this place. Honestly, with Kyle and Chelsea, who's going to join us in a second, is great. But I love watching the kids from North Central. There is nothing better. Like, it really does stir the echoes of a great feel for me when kids are leaving North Central and school and walking home on a Friday on a great day like this, knowing you got the weekend coming up. Man, that you can just tell how excited everybody is, and that, like, stirs those feelings that I had back in the day as well. Although I'd be on a bus with a bunch of knuckleheads turning their class rings around and hitting me on top of the head. A little bit different, I guess, but no, you can kind of tell. I love the excitement of the kids walking across the parking lot and going home here from North Central High School. And I will tell you this, we have Dolphins Colts tickets to give away on a Bud Light Blue Friday here at Taylor's Pub. Now, Chelsea's going to join us on the other side. We're at 86th and Westfield Boulevard on this Bud Light Blue Friday to start out the Colts season. Week 1, Dolphins and Colts. Joel A. Erickson at the top of the hour. Charles Arbuckle, the former Colts tight end, a little bit later on. Voice of the Hoosiers, Don Fisher. And Chris Hagan of Fox 59 joins us live. Do not go anywhere. It's 93.5 and 107.5, The Fan. Hey, it's John here for Big Red Liquors, 100-plus locations throughout the state of Indiana. Good to see you, brother. There's one near you. Log on, bigredliquors.com for the red-hot deals. Not just that, but also the Speakeasy, where you're going to – this is brand new. Have you guys had this yet? Crown Royal Chocolate. Crown Royal Chocolate has been unleashed, and I promise you will dig it. I'm assuming a lot of you for a tailgate this weekend will be serving that. Crown Royal Chocolate, all the Big Red Liquors locations. Plus, my friends from Zinc are sitting here, too. Ice cold Bud Light across the board for your weekend. Make sure, whether it's a tailgate, maybe just a gathering, you get together, your party, you're listening to the JMV Takeover on Saturday night, make sure the ice cold Bud Light from Zinc is right there with you. Maybe the neutral as well, whatever. Make sure you got yourself covered at Big Red Liquors, the 100-plus locations throughout the state of Indiana. One near you powers the JMV Takeover. That's tomorrow night live, the only all-request show, musically speaking, anywhere in the nation. And you have it right here every Saturday night on B105.7. For those great deals, you can find them online right now, BigRedLiquors.com.
The Ride with JMV.
Are you kidding?
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Oh, Bud Light Blue Friday. We've got Dolphins Colts tickets, courtesy of our good friends at Zinc over there. They're here making sure I'm supplied with ice cold Bud Light. I see Tommy S. from Coaches is here. Chris Hagan of Fox 59 has joined.
Present. This is like a high school reunion, seeing everybody.
I love this.
The gang's back together. It's football season.
You're wearing a V-neck too.
You
look outstanding today.
This is my maroon V-neck because Mississippi State's going to upset Arizona State tomorrow night in Starkville.
I'm sure you'll bring that up.
Take that to the bank.
To the approval of absolutely nobody but yourself.
Anybody who's looking for a pick, you take the +6.5. You'll be thanking me on Monday.
The awesome Chelsea is here too. The Nora location.
What kind of shoes you got on
Taylor's
today?
Pub. Huh?
Get on my Colts shoes today.
She's usually got cool shoes on. There we go.
She is so awesome. Do people tell you that all the time?
Just you.
That you're just me?
Yep.
How drunk are they when they start saying that?
Oh, man.
Yes.
Let me tell you. Well, here's Chelsea's awesome because she is down with sports across the board, too, and sports wagering. Hey,
Yeah.
which is right up everybody's alley. Speaking of which, what we think about Chelsea this weekend with the Colts? Because you're always right.
Well, it's been a decade, right, since we've won a home opener. It's for the boss this year, though. Like they got to do it, right?
Can you imagine all that entails this game, and you go out there and screw the pooch and lose?
Yeah, you can't do that.
10-1 in openers since 2013.
That's gross.
Not to mention,
I've won a game since then.
obviously honoring Mr. Irsay, but let's not
all
forget
the things I haven't done since then. Okay.
Let's not forget the namesake of Lucas Oil Stadium, Forrest Lucas, who's passed away.
Yes.
It's just a day with a heavy heart. You want to go out there and handle your business, and this is just one of many streaks the Colts are holding on to. They haven't won the season opener since 2013. Haven't won the division, which is arguably the worst division in football since 2014.
Yep.
Haven't made the playoffs since 2020. Haven't won a playoff game since 2017.
Hell yeah,
So
keep going.
You
It's a
need to,
feel-good story you're writing here, Hagan.
this is how you start to end those streaks. You get off on a winning note. You got the first two at home.
Yep.
You need to handle your business at home. One game at a time, but you got to go out there and win. It's like a pick 'em. Vegas doesn't know what to do. Coin flip. You have to go out there and take care of this and just end that streak. They try to say this is a different team, whatever, but everybody knows they've been garbage week one dating back to 2013, so it's time to end that streak.
Chelsea, what do you think?
Yeah, it's time. We got
Will they end the streak?
Would you bet on them to do that, though?
Well, I already did, so I really hope so.
All right.
Yeah, the money is in the bank already.
Well, we
John.
did.
It's out of the bank, but
I did. I picked the Colts 23-21, and I think it was what was their 1.5 point favorites? Is that what it was?
It's gone. There's some books you can find Colts by one, some you can find Dolphins by one. A lot of them are just pick 'em.
Yeah. So the one I had yesterday with Brent Holverson was Colts by 1.5.
It's a cliche. It comes down to quarterback play. What are you going to get from Daniel Jones? He, in his career as a starter, 1-4 in season openers. So he's not bringing a history of greatness in week one either.
Well, the Dolphins with Mike McDaniel, who's as much on the hot seat as Shane Steichen, they're 7-4 in September games, and a lot of that is because their dudes always get injured. Like Tua always gets injured, but early in the season they're active. That's what worries me the most is these guys, we'll see about Tyreek Hill and his situation, but their guys normally early in the season are really good.
Their injury report is more lengthy than the Colts, but they're saying, quote, all their guys are going to be ready and trending in the right direction. But remember, when the Colts beat the Dolphins last year, it was when Tua was already done for the season.
Chelsea, I want you to join us again at the end of the show.
Yep.
But you tell us right now why people should get here. You got great food going on here. And you got Kyle rocking awesome sunglasses over there, looking badass per usual.
Yeah, we're ready for football season. We've got the games on YouTube TV tonight, but we've got it on. So we've got that going on. Every Sunday we're going to have wings all day, 10 for 10. So that's coming back. People are excited about that. We've got Ruth's Cafe that's open till 2 p.m. You can start brunch over there and then make it over here at halftime. So all season long we'll be ready for it. We're excited.
Is the touchscreen games working?
Yes.
In that corner? That's my go-to.
That's like one of the last standing ones in the city, too.
It's so good.
Well, double back with us a little bit later on,
Will
okay?
do.
Chelsea is here with us.
Thank
Chris
you, guys.
Hagan's going to stick, too. We got Joel A. Erickson, first
My
and
guy.
Joel coming up on the other side as well. And Don Fisher, voice of the Hoosiers, Charles Arbuckle on a Bud Light Blue Friday, 86th and Westfield Boulevard, Taylor's Pub in Nora. We've got Dolphins Colts tickets to give away with our friends from Zinc. They are here and ready to rock and ready to give away some Week 1 tickets. Don't go anywhere. Bullseye passes as well for that party coming up on Sunday with Kyle Kinnett. It's 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. I will show you. Right, if you want to come out, I'll show you my hair, my real growing hair.
The Ride with JMV.
I am the cream, yeah. The cream of the crop. And there is no one that does it better.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Taylor's Pub, 86 in Westfield Boulevard. Bud Light Blue Friday, week number 1. Dolphins Colts tickets to give away. Thank you, my friends from Zinker here. I love them. Ice cold Bud Light to drink. Tickets to win. Great food at Taylor's Pub in Nora for you. Chris Hagan of Fox 59 is here. What album is this Peter Gabriel classic Sledgehammer from? 1986.
I would say it's from Peter Gabriel's Greatest Hits.
Peter Gabriel So.
Oh, yeah.
S-O.
Does that start with Red Rain? Is that
Red
the first
Rain
track
was
on
it. Don't Give Up. That was a duet with Kate Bush. Big Time. I'm on my way and I'm making it.
There was a kid on my high school baseball team. His name was Ted Hamner.
Yeah.
So we always called him Ted Hamner.
That's pretty awesome.
Perfect. he was not a fan of that.
We always had, so I had a classmate named LaDonna Groomer. And when Bananarama came on, I heard a groomer.
The best thing about high school was coming up with nicknames for people. And especially high school kids really did not like their nicknames.
No, they did not.
I was part of it, though.
Hey, the text line, 317-239-1070. Let Hagan and I know what you're thinking about this Week 1 matchup with the Dolphins coming up on Sunday. We'll get back to last night's NFL opener for 2025. And tonight, they're ridiculously in the NFL playing their ass down in Brazil with an AFC West matchup, which is just dumb as hell. I'm sorry.
Let me just tell you one thing about
it's not on Fox 59. It's on YouTube TV to boot.
We talk about gambling on here. My buddy out in Kansas City, he had the under 47.5, and so he hit it. It was at halftime. The over/under was at 41, and then the first possession it was at 44 after one possession of the third quarter. Imagine if you had. He was happy. He had the under. Imagine if you had the over 47.5 in that, and it's sitting at 41 at halftime. You're already cashing that ticket in your mind.
And then it all just stopped.
It's just a reminder of, Vegas always wins. You'll always have a bad beat. But I thought it was a sucker's bet. It was everybody and their cousin was on Eagles -8.
No, not me. I went with the Cowboys to cover.
And then their star defensive player, Hawk Salugi, on Mississippi State product, Dak Prescott, to start the game. So you pull out a key piece. Right away, I'm like, okay, Cowboys are for sure covering this thing.
But there was a first spitter. Yeah, I always say this. I've never been on a field where I've never spit, right?
Yeah.
Everybody always spits on the field, but you never – when you spit on somebody, and nobody's really probably going to beat Jalen Carter's ass, but it normally gets your ass whipped right there, that kind of behavior.
Well, they showed Dak had kind of lured him into it, and oftentimes in sports – you see the guy who retaliates against something, and they the first move. But Dak did spit, but he didn't spit on the person, which I think you might be looking at a suspension after doing that as well. Not only missing that game, but maybe some more time.
4th and Joel on Fox 59 can be seen, along with Chris Hagan. What can't be seen here is we thought Joel A. Erickson of the Star was going to join us live at Taylor's Pub in Nora. However, he is on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. So, Joel A., what gives here?
I just couldn't make it work. I have to. I promised one of my sons that he gets to work on his pitching here this afternoon. So shortly after I get off with you, I got to get my catcher's mitt out and get behind the plate.
Joel. JMV off air was like, let's give him a bunch of blank for not being here. And I'm like,
I'm still going to.
And then Joel plays the ultimate trump card. Excuse me for being a good father, John.
So, hey, Joel, this is the difference here. Do you squat normally when you're the catcher, or do you sit on a 5-gallon bucket? What do you do?
Oh no, I still get in the squat. I still get in
there. You go, buddy. All right, that makes up a little bit for your no-show. But I mean, Andrew Catalan of CBS did the same thing. I know I'm a bad influence, but it seems like you guys are inventing reasons as to not to show up with me because you may be a little bit scared about your image. But don't be scared. Don't be scared.
I said I will leave open the possibility if you get back up over into my neck of the woods, the next time you're up over in my neck of the woods, we'll look at it again and see if I can make it work that time.
All right. Well, I am a bad influence. I will note that, but it's all in the form of having a good time. That's why, Joel. I will. And when you're around me, you're going to have a damn good time. There's no doubt about that. Every time, right there. Now, how good of a time do you expect the Colts fans to have, if at all, coming up on Sunday? We were kind of going over, all the wrinkles in that game and reasons why there should be the ultimate motivation. But again, it does come down to execution with this team and how good of a team you are. What's your thoughts on a matchup with two teams that really are, speaking of 5-gallon buckets, in a similar 5-gallon bucket, I think, to start this season.
Yeah, I think the Dolphins are the more I've looked at them this week, this is a fascinating opening opponent to me, because depending on how I go, I can kind of talk myself into the Dolphins that look scarier than people think, or I can also talk myself into, well, but they've got these weaknesses. So, the real quick version is like they have a healthy Tua Tagovailoa, and then they have those two burners on the outside and Waddle and Hill. And we've seen in the past where that offense has looked really good early in the season. But then if you go and look at their offensive line player by player, you think, well, the Colts should have a huge advantage there because they're pretty inexperienced and they've kind of remade that offensive line, and I don't really know what to expect from it. Same thing on the defense. They have some names as pass rushers on the edge. They've got about 4 guys on the edge. I think Zach Seiler inside is probably maybe the most underrated defensive player in football. But then if you get back to the secondary, there's a ton of questions in that secondary. So I feel like the Dolphins are an interesting opening opponent because you can kind of see it both ways with both sides of the ball.
Joel, I know every year we've had to talk about this for a decade in the locker room, and players say it's a different team, it's a different year, but they're aware that they haven't won an opener since 2013, and it's always teams that win opening week go on about 68% of the time to make the playoffs. So it's a big deal, even though it's a long season. They're well aware of that, and I just think psychologically, given what all's gone on with the franchise, I think it's just this game is really important to go out there and win. And as we've been talking about, and as Las Vegas has been talking about, this is really a coin flip game. So I just really think this is a huge tone setter, more so than other seasons. What about you?
I think the other thing is this opener is there's added weight to it. They're going to put Jim Irsay in the Ring of Honor, and when we've asked players and coaches about that, a lot of times you ask players and coaches about, does this add extra meaning to the game? They're like, no, they're all the same. And we all know that's not necessarily true, but, we all kind of have to go along with it. Well, this week they've said, no, this does add a little bit of something. They want to win on the day that Jim Irsay goes into the Ring of Honor. There's an emotional attachment there for the organization as a whole, for Shane Steichen, all that stuff. The stuff with this opener streak is truly, like, it makes no sense really when you look at who was favored in these games, who wasn't favored. Like the 2020 game where the Colts lose in Jacksonville. Now that was a double curse because you have the opener and in Jacksonville, but that was the only game that Jacksonville team won, and that 2020 team is probably the best Colts team of the last decade, and they still lost the opener. So there have been some real weird ones in this streak in terms of how did, even looking back after you see the rest of the season, you go, how did they lose that game?
Yeah, you think they would just accidentally win one of those games in that amount of time, as weird as the league is and the different talent. I mean, let's remember Andrew Luck started a lot of those games, and there were some good there was an AFC championship game appearing in 2014 team that couldn't win the opener. So it is strange, but that's what makes sports so great is you can't predict some of these things, and a lot of things don't make sense. But I agree with you in that this is just a really intriguing matchup when you think about a coin toss game, and the money's coming in. Most of the money is coming in on the Dolphins, so I guess nationwide they don't have much faith in the Colts. But it comes down to what I think, which is very cliche in football, because it's going to come down to quarterback play. You mentioned a healthy Tua. When he's good, he's really good. What if things go right for the Colts? What is Daniel Jones doing well on Sunday?
Well, I think number one, if things go right for the Colts, the offensive line is giving Daniel Jones lots of time. Jones is not going to hold the ball as long as Anthony Richardson did. We have the next gen stats to know that. He's been borderline top 10. I think he was 11th last year. This is Daniel Jones. And I think he was 13th or something like that the year before in terms of getting the ball out of his hand after the snap. Richardson was much closer. I think Richardson was 6th slowest in the league, and there are guys like Jalen Hurts tends to be higher on that list, or in terms of he takes a longer time to throw the ball. So there's not necessarily a correlation, but when you're going up against a pass rush, it definitely helps. So Jones is going to help there, but they've got to keep people off of him, because I think if you keep the Dolphins out of the backfield regularly, you start looking at this Dolphins secondary, particularly the outside corners, and you think, you know what, Daniel Jones is going to have a chance to make some plays here as long as he has time.
It's Joel A. Erickson of the Star, First and Joel, with Chris Hagan of Fox 59 as well. He's on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Bud Light Blue Friday. We're in Nora, 86th and Westfield Boulevard at Taylor's Pub with your chance to win Dolphins Colts tickets. The nightmare, by the way, too, you remember, Joel, the last receiver, the leading receiver, the last time the Colts won in week number 1?
Oh no!
Was it?
No way.
Was it Reggie? Was it
Reggie Wayne?
Yeah.
Reggie Wayne was the last leading receiver. The last time, or was the leading receiver the last time?
I'll go you one better.
Yeah.
Luck was the quarterback the last time they won a season opener. They played the Oakland Raiders. Who was the Raiders starting quarterback?
Terrell Pryor.
You looked that up, didn't you, you nerd?
I did not. That's my big brain right there, Joel. Joel, that is my big brain.
Who was coach of the Raiders?
John Gruden.
Denny Green.
Denny Green. No, he's not even with us anymore.
Exactly.
Holy hell.
The Colts. The last time the Colts won an opener, I was still covering I was still covering Auburn University.
Oh man.
Was Gus Malzahn the head coach?
Gus Malzahn was the head coach. Yep. Yep.
Man.
I have covered. This is my 8th Colts season, and I covered 3 Saints seasons before that. And to go back to the last time they won an opener, I was still in Auburn.
Was James Boyd a freshman in high school the last time the Colts won a season opener?
I'm sure wherever James Boyd was at that point would make all of us feel terrible. I don't know where he was. I don't know what he was doing. There's no way we don't feel terrible.
Hey, by the way, James played pickup hoop with us a week before last and was trying to talk junk out there.
Not against you, I hope.
Yeah, no, because I whip his ass. But no, he was trying to talk. It was really funny though. He was. Hey, Joel, he was extremely wound up, and I loved it. Actually, everybody he played with actually loved it too. So it was really funny.
Yeah, he said he's been getting out there with you.
Nah, yeah, he is, and he actually, you can count on him to show up. He's a good player. He runs the floor. We'll get a good workout in. So, man, I do appreciate him going out with us.
I finally got back on the pickup court this morning. I had given myself some time off because I was a little concerned about the old Achilles in the summer,
Right.
and I was like, let's not mess around with that.
Because you saw Halliburton is why. And I think we all grabbed our calf when we saw Halliburton back in June in Game 7. Every one of us, yes.
Yeah, I had some tightness, soreness back there after the church softball season, and thought let's not push this and end up doing some First and Joels on crutches in the fall.
Yeah, I know. I played 3 days in a row this week, and I took the last 2 days off because I was a little tight in that category too, and it all goes back to, like, Halliburton has laid the groundwork for me to think a little bit more about that, because my ass is done if I ever do that. And he's going to come back and be stronger than ever, but I'm absolutely done, and that's a nightmare. It really is, but it shows us a little bit of the way, us pickup gamers out there for sure. Joel, I was going to mention this. This is a nightmare scenario to me. All the work that they did and the concentration of the secondary, and it's going to be tested beyond belief, as you mentioned a little bit earlier, in week number 1. I so want to see that come through and legitimize that, if not for the entirety of the season, at least in week number 1. And I don't think you could have a better matchup to see exactly what you did in the offseason and what is moving forward defensively in that secondary than what you're going to witness offensively and defensively between the Dolphins and the Colts coming up on Sunday. Really good test.
Yeah, I'm really interested in seeing how Xavier Howard plays. I think what we saw of Charvarius Ward, I think you kind of I'm expecting him to play pretty well this season. I liked what everyone saw from Cam Bynum on the training camp field. We don't Xavier Howard hasn't played since I think New Year's Eve in 2023, and putting him out there at 32 years old, it sounds to me like they plan on playing him at least a significant amount. That's interesting, especially against these two guys and how just the long speed that they have. When it was Justin Wally going up, in the starting lineup before he got hurt in the joint practice against Baltimore, Wally was a guy who gives you 4.4 speed at that corner. I thought that was one of the interesting things about him, was that maybe the Colts were going to prioritize speed a little bit more at corner. But, how in Howard, it's pretty clear that Lou Anarumo is prioritizing experience, which is one of the things that he was kind of known for and sometimes criticized for in Cincinnati. It's real. Xavier Howard might be the most interesting player in this game, if outside of everybody wondering what happens with Daniel Jones. I think how Xavier Howard plays against this team specifically, that can test you with all that speed on the outside, that's maybe the most interesting thing about this game is can this guy still play? Like what we didn't see him last year. What's he look like?
Joel, you mentioned giving Jones time. If he does have some time, how do you feel about the Colts' skill position guys at wide receiver, tight end, obviously at running back? I mean, there are some pieces in place where this offense, when healthy and when executing, they can put up some numbers, can't they?
Yeah, I think, and so much of it's dependent on the quarterback, but I really think it's a good group. I think it's a good – Tyler Warren adds the missing piece, and I'm really interested to see, what the Colts do with him when they have a chance to game plan it, because he's got the run after the catch. It's something that not a lot of tight ends have. Even fewer have it the way he has it, where a lot of tight ends are good after the catch in space when there's they're 8 to 10 yards downfield and they've got room between them and a linebacker. Tyler Warren is used to running the line of scrimmage as a wildcat quarterback. That means that those tight end screens that fans have hated for years, going back to multiple coaching staffs, that's a different kind of player that's going to be getting those tight end screens this year. This is more of a guy with a running back's instincts and abilities. Same thing with some of those other short routes over the middle. Is this is a guy who's a different kind of runner after the catch, and I think he really brings it all together. He gives them something they didn't have at that position, and it probably makes the rest of them better. They're less of we all know they don't have the number one, the Jamar Chase type, but they have a lot of guys who do something really, really well, and that's probably, if Daniel Jones can get him the football, I think that they can spread it around in a lot of ways that end up helping the offense.
It's going to be exciting to see, because in years past we've seen Steichen had things schemed up properly, but the execution was not there. So if you have people that are executing, and we know what kind of football mind he is, if you get those two on the same page, the scheming, the play calling, and the execution, I think Colts fans will be really pleased with the results.
Yeah, that I think is the bet that Shane Steichen specifically is making more than any other, is just they've had a lot of missed opportunities over the last couple of years with him. You think about the fact that the Colts are 17-17 with, Gardner Minshew, Anthony Richardson, and Joe Flacco at quarterback, and some really bad stretches of quarterback play in that time. It's not good. It's obviously not good enough. I think Colts fans are obviously justified in wanting to see more. But you find yourself thinking, they did get themselves to 11th in the league in offense when Minshew started most of the season in 2023, and they were able to, somewhat stay in the mix of the playoff with all the mess that was going on at quarterback last year. And so that makes you wonder, Shane Steichen does seem to be pretty good at finding the weaknesses in a defense. If Daniel Jones can take what he knows of the offense, because it sounds like he's a guy who really has mastered the offense. if he can take that and put it into practice on the field, can this be a better offense than I think really anybody around the NFL is expecting?
It's Joel A. Erickson with us in closing, buddy. What's your call on the season? I said 8-9, and Mike Chappell agreed with me yesterday. What say you?
I think I had 7 wins. I think I went with 7 wins. It is as much as you can see a best case scenario for Daniel Jones. I might just be worn down by high hopes for quarterbacks for the last 4 years that haven't turned out.
Well, is one of those 7 wins on Sunday, Joel?
Yeah, because at some point the streak has to end, right? I know that's like you're not supposed to bet. You're not supposed to bet against the streak, but I think so. My boss, our sports editor Nat Newell, ran the numbers on it. And I think he said it's something like 0.06% chance of the Colts losing all of these openers when you take into account who was favored and by how much and all that stuff.
Wow,
it's got to end at some point.
Yeah, and no better time than Sunday, no doubt about that. Joel A. Erickson of the Star. What time is First and Joel on with you,
Chris? Well, you're not saying it right. You have to say First and Joel. That's going to be 11:30 Sunday morning on CBS 4. Kickoff to follow at 1. So set it on CBS 4 at 11:30 and just don't change it till about 5 o'clock.
You know, what we honestly should do, Joel, we should set you up at this time every Friday with Hagan and, do that and promote that bad boy. What do you think?
I'm in.
All right, then.
Yeah, and you know what? Now I gotta have more questions for Sunday. I barely had enough for today.
Come on, man.
I want to repeat it. Hey, Joel, just remember everything you said, and we'll do it again on Sunday.
Yeah, I'm going to take some of this stuff and just send it to our friend Phil for the keys.
Joel, appreciate you, man. Have a great weekend. Do some strong catching for the kid, okay?
You bet. Like I said, at some point when you get back out my way, I will come in person this year.
And at some point, you'll probably regret that decision, but we'll talk about that later. Thanks, buddy.
I wonder if his son is hitting the radar. I wonder if his son is hitting the radar gun fast enough nowadays and he needs to go with the cup.
Yeah, I think his teammate.
I think
his son is a teammate of the son of Brian Kelly of the shop in Broad Ripple and Carmel.
Yeah.
Good friends there. Hey, we're going to do some prediction stuff, some talk about Sunday on the other side. You want to do that too? I'll let you bring up Mississippi State because I know you're chomping at that bit. Bud Light Blue Friday finds us. We're on Westfield Boulevard, right off of 86th Street, Taylor's Pub, Nora location. We have Dolphins Colts tickets to give away, and we're hanging with you at 239-1070 if you want to call, 317-239-1070. That is the text line. I've got stuff to read. If you want to get them in here, we'll do that. College, high school, and Colts, week number 1, and another game in Brazil later on tonight as well we'll get to next. Don't go anywhere. It's 93.5, 107.5 The Fan.
The Ride with JMV.
You just got your asses whipped by a bunch of damn nerds.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Oh, this is the Bud Light Blue Friday at Taylor's Pub in Nora. We would love to see you for these Dolphins Colts tickets. I'm John. That's Chris.
Hey, was that John Goodman in that clip there? Because he sounded like Bob Lovell. He sounded like Bob Lovell.
It was. Yeah, no, he was the head coach. Head coach of the Adams of Adams College.
You know, that was shot at the University of Arizona. That's why they had the A on there. And at one point, Booger's wearing a T-shirt that says "Greasy Tony's Pizza."
Yeah,
and that was a real place. He got a free plug-in to Greasy Tony's, and that was when I went to school out there. That was a good 2:30, 3 a.m. in the morning time to unwind pizza stop.
Was that the your favorite film shot in Tucson, Arizona,
No,
or Can't Buy Me Love?
Yeah, Can't Buy Me Love was so good. Did you know the guy? Did he pass away or did he have a birthday? The redheaded kid, Courtney Gaines.
I think he's still with us.
I met some girls at college that went to Tucson High School and had met him when they were shooting that movie. And you know he was really good at the video game. They had the actual video game in his hotel room where he lived. Yeah. And that part of he was supposed to be playing it all the time, so he would be really good at it. That's what a method actor he was.
You blanked on my house, man.
Would you have forgiven Ronald McDonald Miller for doing that?
Yeah, I mean, he was just kind of getting swept up in the cool crowd right there. Like, remember, Clinton is here. Let the fun begin. Or Ian, let the fun begin.
Who would you be more upset with?
He's been on the show before.
Yeah, I was on it. I was with you that day. Was it worse to be caught as Ronald McDonald Miller doing that to your friend's house or Tom Cruise in All the Right Moves doing that to the coach's house? Which was worse?
I think Tom Cruise really didn't do much. He was just getting a ride home. He was a drunk high school dude.
He should have been hanging out with Leah Thompson.
Man.
Yeah, that was strong.
He did.
He did hang out with her.
He got in there once upon a time.
There were some good parts of the movie to pause on the VCR there.
Well, I mean, there's also a bad part, too, because I think his dangle was floating around in the picture, too. I don't need to be seeing that. We don't need to be seeing that. Bud Light Blue Friday. I tell you what, James, I think Charles wants to go a little bit earlier today, so maybe work him in. Call him and see if he wants to go in the next 5 or so minutes. 239-1070 is the number. I know Mike in Brooklyn is up, I'm assuming, with his Week 1 Colts-Dolphins prediction. Hello, Mike.
Gentlemen, what's up? Yeah, JMV, I just want to run something by you because
sure thing. Run it by me.
I don't have questions, about Steichen as an offensive coach. I have questions about him as being a head coach. But my mind is thinking, as far as this offense goes, it would be kind of coaching malpractice if they didn't use Anthony Richardson in a Taysom Hill type of a role. Because you got a weapon there that would potentially terrify defenses. I'm sure that they're all going to have to be preparing for it. And how much of that do you think that they're not going to tell us, but how much do you think that they're exploring that, and if he can handle it?
I was talking about that as soon as they made the announcement in the Fox 59 Sports Department. I was talking about that right away when they named Jones the starter. I said there's no way they don't have a red zone goal line package that doesn't include AR, and I would not be shocked at all to see them do that. And as you said, you're foolish if you don't have that in there. That's an added dimension. That's a weapon. He's on the roster. He'll have a helmet and shoulder pads, John.
Yeah.
Why not throw him out there?
I don't think there's any way in the world. Maybe short yardage. I don't think they're going to include him in a lot of packages. You do, though?
I think they should.
Yeah.
I mean, why wouldn't you? Would you rather have,
No, I agree.
Third and goal from the 3? Would you rather have Jones trying to run around the edge or Richardson?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I think the problem is everybody's talked up Jones being an athletic quarterback.
He is, but he's not as athletic as AR.
I don't know if they'll do that.
Well,
I question whether or not they'll do it. But Mike, I agree with you. As an offensive guy, I think we'll go with Steichen. As a head coach of everything on that team, yeah, that's the big question mark, I think, to this point, is it not?
Yeah, he definitely has. He definitely has a lot to prove himself in that department. I'm just hoping he doesn't do his usual, going for it on 4th downs. It always seems like he's playing like they're from behind and doing all this. Just try and keep it as simple as possible. And if they work in an Anthony Richardson package like that, I think that's the way to go to see if he can handle that. The only reason you wouldn't do it is if you don't trust him to even handle something simple like that. And I don't even want to hear the argument that they're going to say about, well, we don't want to upset Daniel Jones by taking him off the field. That would be like, please, if Drew Brees can come off the field for Taysom Hill, Daniel Jones could come off the field for Anthony Richardson. So let's see. Maybe they got something laying in the weeds here that we're not going. They're going to unleash on Sunday. I don't know. That's where my mind takes me. But anyway, you guys, let's go week one. I'm ready.
Before you hang up, with an accent like that, why aren't you talking about the Giants or Jets right now?
Yeah, JMV can kill you in on that. That's especially a Colt fan.
Are you in the witness protection program? Is there something we should know here?
No. I went to a Colt game at Shea Stadium. My grandfather, the Jets Colts. I was a Jets fan, and Bert Jones turned me into a Colt fan after that performance. So
that's
I've been a
awesome.
Colt fan since then. Yeah.
Nice.
Mike in Brooklyn, man, we'll catch up with you on Monday to see how things turn out, okay?
Yep, let's go. I'm ready. All right, JMV, thanks. Have a good weekend.
You got it, Benny. Mike in Brooklyn, New York, right there. The text line 317-239-1070. This is from Matt C. Arizona class of 2020. Bear down, Matt and
Bear
Avon.
down. You know, I always say that when I see T.J. McConnell. I said it to Gronk.
Well, he went to Duquesne.
He went to Arizona after that.
I know he did.
I said it to Gronk at Foxborough. I said it to Steve Kerr when he played for the Spurs. And it's just whenever it's not as well known as Roll Tide or War Eagle or something like that or OH. But when you give Bear down to somebody that went to Arizona, you get that instant smile and reaction. And all the athletes that I've said that to always have the same
Bear
reaction.
down when they're the Wildcats?
Why is it War Eagle when they're the Tigers?
I just want to know why.
Well, there's a long story. There's this guy, and it's how it's kind of like the win one for the Gipper, but it's not the Gipper. It's too much to get into right now.
The
John.
Tucson weather, I think I could deal with year round. Is it not bad?
Oh, it's tremendous.
Yeah.
I didn't understand though because when I first moved out there, I had all these turtlenecks and things from Christmas, and I woke up in the morning. It was chilly, so I put the turtleneck on, and it's the desert, so. By 12 noon, the turtleneck needed to come off. It was hot, but not humid. Great weather.
Do you find yourself picking your nose a lot out there too because it's so dry?
No, but you do find yourself melting your hands on the steering wheel if you don't put one of those little things in the windshield to block the sun. I tell you what, it was the most fun I ever had in high school or college, but I had a little too much fun out there, and I'm sure the guy that texted in knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah, text line, JMV, can Hagan please bestow his Mississippi State football season prediction upon us? Love college football, would like to know his forecast in Starkville this year. Thank you.
I like how somebody wants me to bestow, as if I have some knowledge.
Bestow knowledge is what they're asking.
I love, the line, the look-ahead line for Mississippi State, Arizona State was 11.5. It's down to 6.5. I would still take the 6.5. Eric Dampier, Final Four, Mississippi State Bulldogs. I like State. I think they can win. You can get a money line, but I think you cover yourself. You take the 6.5. You don't just go into Stark Vegas at night.
Buddy.
It's a revenge game. I like the Bulldogs at home tomorrow night, and I think they won't be nearly as bad as last year. They had a transfer quarterback from Baylor. He got hurt early last year. He's back. He's healthy. I think State can win about 5 or 6 games, and I think one of them will be tomorrow night.
That's Hagan. I'm JMV. Don Fisher, voice of the Hoosiers, top of the hour. Charles Arbuckle a little bit later on this show. Bud Light Blue Friday, Taylor's Pub, 86 and Westfield Boulevard. We've got Dolphins, Colts tickets to give away. And while we're thinking about it right now, how about a couple of bullseye passes, James, at 239-1070 on the phones? Number 9 is going to go. Doors open at 10. The best pregame ever. The party is on. DJ Skids will be there. All you can eat, all you can drink. BullseyeEventGroup.com. The Colts VIP tailgate presented by Hayes & Sons Restoration. Log on and get your passes if you don't win, but if you're number 9, you will at 239-1070 with 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
JMV.
Oh, wait just a minute. Didn't anybody knock anymore?
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Welcome back. Hagen, you want to take this over for a minute? I just took a bite of a protein bar that was problematic.
On the reentry, Judge Reinhold, one of the greatest scenes in movie history. Fun fact, when the Colts play at L.A. this year against the Chargers, I'm going out a day early, and I'm going to have a little tour of all the Fast Times at Ridgemont High movie sets and scenes and locations.
Yeah.
Something long overdue in my life. That movie came out at a perfect time in our lives, you and I.
Oh, man.
We were like, I don't know, 8th or 9th grade.
Yeah. A little self-gratification going on there.
I just, everybody thinks this. Like, I know people that grew up in the 90s think, Clueless and all these movies were great or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think the movies in the 80s were the absolute best. The John Hughes movies, the teen comedies. That was really when they started catering movies to a teenage audience, and we were the perfect demographic in those. I actually watched 16 Candles last weekend, and I was reminded of how funny it is and how probably a lot of those jokes wouldn't fly in today's society.
Now they wouldn't. I mean, you could tell even by the way they edit things now. I mean, they'll leave, like a lot of cuss words in, but take other references out now. You can just kind of tell what flies and what doesn't in this era.
It's different. It's a different time. But to me, funny is funny. And if something, I mean, you can look back at some of those Buster Keaton.
Eddie Murphy Delirious came out this week back in 1983.
Wow.
That's another one where you go, oh, my.
Wow, yeah.
Everybody's going to freak out over that, but it was great. Great stand-up.
They'll show some of those movies unedited, but they'll give you a little warning beforehand, like, hey, this might be a little much for you. But even like, Charlie Chaplin, Buster Keaton, things like that were funny back then, Bud Abbott, Lou Costello. If it's funny, it's funny, and I think funny travels through time.
Eddie Murphy doing his Elvis Presley impression was all, we got to win this race. That's so good.
Lemonade, that cool, refreshing drink.
I think, I love Richard Pryor live on Sunset Strip. I think that is the best. But Eddie Murphy Delirious is right there with it. Right there.
Yeah, and that's when comedians were rock stars.
Yeah.
There was that era where, I mean, just the Riz, what are the words the kids use today? The swagger.
The swagger?
That kind of stuff. Eddie Murphy had that. And you don't realize, because we were young, he was older than us, so we did. Yeah. Now you don't realize how young he was, in comparison to his contemporaries. He's 18 years old on SNL, and he was just a savant as far as funny is funny.
Well, and then have they ever had? I mean, Will Ferrell obviously is they've had a lot of big deals. Adam Sandler, who didn't make it on SNL but became a big deal, but he was stratospheric, and when he hit SNL and then just took off. I mean, immediately went into films. He was in 48 Hours, Trading Places, and then made that significant mark in '84 with Beverly Hills Cop.
I saw a thing yesterday where this funny gal that I follow on Instagram named Veronica. I don't know her last name.
Elvis Costello's Veronica?
No. She's going to be on Saturday Night Live. She's a new cast member, and she's from Canada, and she's the first Canadian cast member in a long time. Can you name a couple of other Canadian cast members on
Dan
SNL?
Aykroyd.
Correct.
Dana Carvey? No, I'm sorry. Martin Short.
Correct.
He's Canadian.
And probably one you forget about, Mike Myers.
Yeah, Mike Myers. Yeah.
Norm Macdonald.
Yeah, he was. Dana Carvey was not, though.
He was not. He's from Montana or somewhere.
Montana.
But yeah, it's like 10 or 11 people are the only, not many.
Well, because they took from Second City, and a lot of those Second City and SCT TVers ended up in that capacity, too.
I like seeing nerd trivia like that. It hit me right in the spot.
Here's a question for Chris Hagen. How many games do you think Carter will be suspended after last night's spitting incident? As a reference, Myles Garrett famously ripped the helmet off of Mason Rudolph before smashing it back onto his head. He got 6 games for that. Luke in downtown Indy.
I think, did you see one of the taunting penalties they called last night, which was pretty weak?
Yeah.
And they indicated on
that's how that's going to be. You got to get ready for that,
they
too, on
indicated
Sunday.
On the broadcast that they're really policing this let's be nice to each other thing. So I think if you're giving a 15-yard penalty for the guy flexing over a guy, and it was prime time and it's the season opener, everybody's watching, I think they might give him, I'd say at least 1 game, maybe 2 games.
Did you ever find yourself last night watching those two teams play offense and think, man, there's no way in the world the Colts are going to look like that?
When I was looking, I was like, there's no way in the world the Colts defense will look like that. But look, you take Micah Parsons off the Cowboys defense.
Yeah.
You have Carter misses the whole game on the Eagles defense. Two key pieces for arguably the best piece of each defense gone, and then two elite level quarterbacks that can extend plays, make things happen. So yeah, I was like, is anybody ever going to punt? Is there going to be a stop in this game? And it was just a fluky, weird game. You had the delay. You had this guy gets thrown. And think about this: if the guy doesn't get hurt on the kickoff, then Carter and Dak never come face to face. They go out there. They're sitting there, talking trash, waiting for them to get the guy off the field. That never happens if the guy doesn't get hurt on the kickoff. So from the get-go, it was a weird situation, and it only got weirder and then went on late into the night.
Prescott looked good. Yeah, and you get
CeeDee Lamb did not look good.
He did not look good, and that's problematic because that was one of the reasons or the rationale behind the Dallas Cowboys trading Micah Parsons to Green Bay. You couldn't pay all three. So now if Parsons goes out and takes some back injections and plays well against Green Bay in their opener against the Lions, everybody's going to be saying, well, wait a minute. I think you kept the wrong guy. Maybe you should have gone with Parsons and let CeeDee Lamb go someplace else.
And some of that, I think, is mental because he's going to show. But, I mean, Dak put a couple of passes on him that there's no way he shouldn't have caught. And he threw one earlier to a guy in the end zone that dropped a touchdown pass as well. And they got a personal foul, but they ended up fumbling on the next play. So Dak got robbed of some big numbers and some touchdown throws.
Chiefs-Chargers in Brazil, an AFC West matchup. Stirring the echoes of the greatness of the AFL in the past. And it's in Brazil, which is this dumb as absolute hell right there. So 3-point favorites of the Chiefs. I got the Chargers.
I got the Chargers. Jim Harbaugh is great in season openers. I think that the Chiefs won a lot of games last year without covering, and they were very frustrating for bettors. And so I like the Chargers come out. Let's see how Justin Herbert does he take that next step. I like the Chargers outright.
I think the offenses are somewhat going to be equal. I think it comes down to what the two defenses end up doing down there too. But
it's also great. Again, we're about to hit a break, but every year there's a team that's way better than we thought they were going to be, and there's a team that's way crappier than we thought they were going to be. And it always starts in week one. Those are the indicators of like, wow, it's the start of something good or the start of something tragic, and we start to find out again tonight.
Skivvies, by the way, gives a shout out to Courtney Gaines. You referenced the actor a little bit earlier from Hard Bodies.
Oh, yeah.
Man, I don't know how the hell he got cast in that.
He was in Children of the Corn.
Well, I mean, you had to put your sunglasses on to look at that dude, man. It was incredible. Hagan and I on the other side. Don Fisher, voice of the Hoosiers, joins us. Charles Arbuckle also on the 5 o'clock hour. Colts radio analyst, 86th and Westfield Boulevard. We're at Taylor's Pub in Nora. Bud Light Blue Friday with Dolphins Colts tickets to give away. This is one hell of a chance for you to kick off a great weekend with the ice-cold Bud Light, with all of your friends and the great food at Taylor's Pub. We'll come back with Don Fisher on the other side. Do not go anywhere. The stream, the app, HD Radio, the AAA Membership Lounge via YouTube Live at 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
The Ride with JMV.
The sportos, motorheads, geeks, sluts, bloods, wastoids, dweebies, they all adore him. They think he's a righteous dude.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Dolphins, Colts tickets, Bud Light Blue Friday. We are back with our friends from Zinc. Man, I love them. I believe this song is from Can't Buy Me Love, too, right here.
Is this Living in a Box?
By Living in a Box. Yeah.
From the album Living in a Box.
Indeed it is. 86 in Westfield Boulevard, Taylor's Pub. You can win tickets here. Get here. Great food, great time. That's Chris Hagan, Fox 59. I'm JMV. Charles Arbuckle, Colts Radio Network, the former tight end, coming up in just a bit. But let's get right to it on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline, because I'm assuming we are making a beeline right now down to Ellettsville, Indiana, for the 2-0 Stallions and or Mustangs of Edgewood High School. They get South Putnam later on this evening. High school football game number 3 for everybody, including Edgewood, and the voice of the Hoosiers, Don Fisher. Are you en route right now to Ellettsville?
The truth is, John, I'm en route to Bloomington, and I'm not going to be able to see the game tonight because I'm emceeing the Hall of Fame banquet.
Well, that's just ridiculous. Do they not understand the consequences of that? You start out 2-0 with Edgewood, and you can't go? What the hell?
I know it's disappointing, and there's nothing I can do about it because they always ask me to do this, and I didn't know the date and how it would work out in that context, but it's always on a Friday before a home football game, so it is this week, so it's tonight.
Can we blame Scott Dolson for this?
You can, or you can blame anybody you'd like in the athletic department.
Fish, you're a victim.
You know?
Understand.
Fish is a victim of his own success.
Yeah.
You know, if you were some loser, Fish, they wouldn't want you around anything. But when you throw your name on something, I mean, it adds to the prestige. You think IU athletics, you think Don Fisher, so it wouldn't be the same without you. So I know, and I'm sure over your long tenure at IU, I bet there are countless sacrifices you've had to make, and that's one of the downsides of having a job like we do.
You're correct in that. It is part of the job, and it's something that I've done this for so many years. I think I missed one here in the last 10 maybe, but I probably have done this for the last 20 years plus. So it's kind of an institution, so to speak, but there will be a time when somebody else takes over, and that'll be fine.
So, you know that South Putt's 2-0, much like the Stallions, and South Putt's put up 118 in 2 games offensively so far. I mean, this is a 3A clash in week 3 tonight.
It is. The South Putnam program has been good for some time, without question, and they absolutely destroyed Edgewood last year and the year before. So they've dealt with these guys previously. We're hoping that tonight is a little bit different story, at least one that's a lot closer in score than it was last year. I can't even remember what the score was. It was so bad. So the running back supposedly for South Putt ran for 600-plus yards in 2 games.
Jeez. What is he, like 35 years old? What do we got?
I don't know how old he is. All I know is he's obviously pretty doggone good.
Yeah, he is. Hey, my big question is, are you staying in Bloomington tonight?
We are. Susie and I are headed down there as we speak, and yes, we are staying overnight because we have a 12 noon kickoff and an 11 o'clock pregame show tomorrow. So we get a night in the student union.
All right, so you guys going to Brothers Bar and Grill to celebrate later on this evening? That where you guys go? Where all the kids go?
We are not going to Brothers Bar and Grill. Trust me. Susie says we're going to the Frangie Panty Room.
No, you are you? Well, we used to have. No. That's where I used to. Yeah, hey, well, you should, because that's where I had my junior prom for Easton Green.
I understand that. but I don't think there's a problem there tonight, and they may have locked the doors. Who knows?
Oh, I love that, though. That'd be a great time. Hey, Don, tell us a little bit about Kennesaw State, because I don't know a damn thing, to be quite honest. I'm assuming you do.
It's in Georgia.
Well, I know a little bit about them. They have one of our former Indiana quarterbacks as their quarterback. Dexter Williams is the quarterback after sitting out a year with an injury, of course, at Indiana, and then transferring to Georgia Southern, where I think he got hurt again. And so Dexter is the quarterback. He had a pretty good game last week, and it was a solid performance. And they fell to Wake Forest by a single point, 10-9. So they've got a good football team. And Indiana, of course, thinks that they've got one, too, and they didn't play up to what they thought their capabilities were last week. So I think it's going to be a very interesting matchup, but I think that Indiana will prevail, and they may prevail in a big way, because I think Kurt Cignetti was not all that pleased with last week's performance.
Well, Fish, they better prevail in a big way, because they're 36.5-point favorites. But, yeah, the disrespect is real. IU coming off a playoff season. They won in week 1 and fell 3 spots in the AP poll. They win by double digits and drop in the poll, and to me, that's a little bit ridiculous.
Well, you got to understand, Chris, that one of the things that Indiana football has dealt with for many years is disrespect. And they got quite a bit of that last year from the SEC, despite the fact that they made the college football playoff. But honestly, I don't think there's any doubt that this is a good ball club. That Indiana's a really good football team this year, and it's going to get better. Last week was disappointing in some ways, but still, they had 502 yards of offense last week. And when you have that much offense and don't score a ton of points, people get disappointed. But I will tell you this, Kurt Cignetti is the best coach I've ever been around. And not saying something, because I love Bill Mallory to death, as you know. I thought we've had a couple of other good coaches as well through these years. But nevertheless, you got to win, and that's the name of the game. And when you don't win, especially a program like Indiana, you're probably going to get disrespected a little bit.
What does it say about the program, though, when winning a game against anybody by 13 points comes with some disappointment? I mean, I guess that comes with expectation. And as you said, the disrespect and the disappointment for years down in Bloomington. And now it's like, okay, we're not happy with just winning. We want to win. We want to go out there. We want to dominate opponents, non-conference opponents especially. And I think that is good that Cignetti has that kind of mindset, like, hey, that wasn't good enough. And I do anticipate a huge blowout tomorrow, but that's something that comes with expectations in a preseason ranking, isn't it?
It's exactly right. There's always expectations when you have a season like Indiana had last year, no matter what school it is. But still, when you have that kind of year at Indiana, it even brings out more of the expectations. And there was a great crowd last week. It wasn't a packed house. It wasn't sold out. But these 3 ball games at the beginning of the season have got no hype simply because of who Indiana's playing. And so that's part of the issue. And the Indiana fan base has to understand that despite that, they still have to show up for the ball game, and they've got to have energy. And last week, like Coach Cignetti said in the postgame show, he said it was kind of deja vu based on last year's performance against Florida International, and the fans all left at halftime. And a lot of them did the same thing this last ball game. So it's something that Indiana's got to get over. The fan base has got to understand how important the energy is that the crowd supplies in a ball game, whether it's a blowout or otherwise. If you're going to be a football school, you got to act like a football school. And so far, the Indiana fan base hasn't totally understood that at this point.
It's Don Fisher, voice of the Hoosiers. You do have IU and Kennesaw State coming up tomorrow, 11 a.m., 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan is the time for the pregame show. So what did you gather in regarding quarterback Fernando Mendoza? I don't know how much you take away from that performance against ODU, but what were your thoughts, at least initially, seeing him under center for the Hoosiers?
Well, I don't think there's any question, John, that he's got the talent level that you need. I think the question mark on him right now is his decision-making. And not that he had a bad ball game in that area last week, but he's got a great core of receivers. He didn't spread the ball out like we saw last year. I think that's something that Curtis Rourke was really good at, and I think that Fernando will get better at it. I think he's, based on what I heard last night from Coach Signetti in our talk show, I think he's really made some improvements this week, and maybe he's gotten over the jitters a little bit playing in Indiana for the first time. So, and that's always a factor too. And the other thing about Curtis Rourke, he kind of spoiled everybody for a guy that is one of the great decision makers in a football game that I've ever watched. I think he was so spectacular in making the right decisions almost every single play. And unfortunately, Fernando didn't do that in the first ball game, and people think, well, this guy can't be nearly as good. Well, I think he's better than people think he is. So we'll just have to wait and see how it proves out.
Well, I can tell you this. I've seen some draft boards and some prognostications that have him as one of the, as a first-round quality, talent. So he's very well thought of just coming into the season. And so now it's all about what you said, settle in. It's good that you get a game under your belt against the team you were supposed to beat and you do beat. And another one this week where you can kind of, settle in even more and be ready when the big-time games come around.
No question. I mean, the next two ball games are just like the first one. They've got to make a statement probably in these next two in regard to the score and all those kinds of things. But I think the biggest thing in Kurt Signetti's mind is that they've got to eliminate the mistakes that they had in that first ball game. I think he was pretty upset with his football team in the sense of the two big plays that Old Dominion was able to pull off. One at the very first play of the first series, and then the other one late in the fourth quarter. To have those two missteps by the defense was a negative. But the other thing about it is they had the numbers, the statistics, everything was in their favor last week. They just didn't produce the same number of points that we saw at a consistent base last year. I think that's going to change.
So Don Fisher, voice of the Hoosiers on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. All right, well, you and Susie have a great time down at the Hall of Fame induction ceremonies and inside the Memorial Union. That's awesome down there, by the way, too. I do love it. I do.
Yeah. It is. One of the guys that's going in tonight, I'm going to mention him simply because everybody knows who I'm talking about. One of the new Hall of Famers is going to be Cody Zeller, and we're really excited about that.
Man, that means you're going to have all of Davies County up in there tonight. Enjoy that.
Yep. Maybe the whole Hatchet House will show up.
Well, I mean, now Dinkies in Montgomery, there's not going to be anybody there to bid on the sheep they're going to have for sale later on tonight. What are they going to be doing down there? Holy hell.
I got no idea what they'll be doing down there, but let's keep sheep out of it if we can.
Oh, well, you mentioned, and you walk up to Cody later on tonight and go, hey, man, have you ever been to Dinkies? I guarantee you have. Absolutely. Dinkies. And he'll know exactly what you're talking about.
And you know what, John? That you would know that tells me everything I've ever known about you is true.
Yeah, it is. It's magnified. My hillbilliness is magnified with that comment right there. There it is. All right, buddy.
Cool.
Next week we'll do it. I know it's a Friday night game next week, right, with Indiana State?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
No, that sucks. Oh, dang. Friday night. You're not going to be able to watch Edgewood and the River Rats. Edgewood gets the River Rats next week, too. You're not going to be able to see it.
I know. It's going to be 2 weeks in a row, and I'm going to be missing in action.
Man.
Hey, Fish, is Susie in the car with you?
She is.
Well, you didn't let her get a word in edgewise, as usual, but tell her we said hi.
Well, trust me, she gets all the verbiage in that she can handle when John and you and me are together. Just so you know.
Exactly. Always a good time.
Oh, man. Yeah, I know you guys love watching me drink about 10 beers. I know it.
All I know, John, is that we have a good time every time we get together. Let's
we do, buddy. We do. You got it. Well, have fun down there tonight, and have a great call tomorrow, and we'll do it again soon. Next Friday, Don, thank you.
All right. See you guys.
Don and Susie Fisher on the way to Bloomington tonight. 11 a.m. your coverage, 93.5, 107.5 The Fan. That's coming up tomorrow with Kennesaw State and IU. And on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline, a part of the Colts Radio Network, he is the former Colts tight end. Charles Arbuckle joins us. So give me your thoughts at the start here on this particular matchup. Let's go offense versus defense. What we're going to see or expect to see with Daniel Jones, Charles, and what Miami has to offer, especially up front defensively. What are your thoughts going into the weekend in this week one matchup?
Well, I've said often that the Colts have to play some good offense. That's the thing. They can rely on their defense, and it'll get you close, but they're going to need to score points. And I think the biggest thing, JMV, is getting off to a great start. It looks like the reason why they have Daniel Jones is he can protect the football from, maybe a few years ago. And he's even been good even the years they weren't great. He's protected the ball. But making sure you're getting into those weapons, man. They got so many weapons that the Colts have that can make plays. And then we didn't see much of Jonathan Taylor, JT, but you're going to see him now. And I think that's a real key bonus point for Daniel Jones. Having a strong running game takes you away from having to make plays all by yourself. Now, with Miami, they're going to provide some challenges. I mean, this Miami team is going to be a tough out. But I do think since you haven't won a game since opening game since 2013, it has to be some of those explosives we saw. You have to have some opportunities to turn the ball over like we saw late in the preseason. And if the Colts are going to do that, that gives them a chance to beat anybody, and particularly the Dolphins.
Hey, Charles, Chris Hagan, Fox 59. It's been a long, long time since you used to come out and hang out with me in the studio. Always good to catch up with you.
Chris, how you doing, man?
Man, I'm hanging in. We talk about, it's a long season, one game at a time. It's just one game. But when you reference that long drought of season opening wins, how important is it to go out there and finally start the season on a positive note? And how can opening weekend set the tone for what's going to come the rest of the season?
Well, I've been on teams, guys, where we started out really slow. I can remember 92, but we had to get hot, and we missed the playoffs by a year. And then that 95 season was a similar thing. We didn't start slow, but we just didn't get going. The more you can win early and keep that momentum, because you never know when injuries are going to happen and all those other things. And if you've been a team that's kind of been playing from behind, for a while, it becomes something that you start to expect instead of expecting to win. And I think that's the part for me that I want to see that mentality change with the Colts. I think that's the hardest part, to get a team to understand, no, this isn't normal. You shouldn't expect to start 0-2 or 0-1 or 0-3. Your expectation has to become, if you're going to be a playoff team, is that every time we come out, like the Eagles last night is a good example. Dallas showed something. The Eagles were without one of their key guys for a bonehead to say. One of the stupidest things you can do is to spit on somebody. We're fighting there. Dak held his composure. That wouldn't have been me. But the thing is, look at the Eagles. They get started 1-0. It wasn't a pretty win, right? But they got it done. That's how you have to start having that mentality if you're a Colts team, in order to get into a situation where you say, we go out and we expect to win, and however it happens, we have to make it happen. And I don't think they've been able to do that over the last few years. And let's see if that's a mentality that they can start with on Sunday.
Charles Arbuckle, the former Colts tight end of the Colts Radio Networks on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. This is not an original thought, but it just seems like this would be the type of game, the type of start where you want positive results here, is you lean heavily on Jonathan Taylor. Would you expect that to be essentially the game plan offensively to start for the Colts?
I would think you see a heavy dose of JT. Yeah, Jonathan Taylor has to be your bread and butter, right? That's why he is who he is. That's why you think of him as a guy that's over, 12, 13, 1,400 yards every year. Because what it does is it sets up everything else. And now that you have a weapon that I think is going to be valuable with the tight end play, especially Tyler Warren. We're going to see Tyler Warren. I'm just telling everybody that can hear me in your airway, he's going to catch 70. He stays healthy, it may be more, because that's the way this guy can be utilized. And that creates things on the outside that even the outside weapons that the Colts have had over the last few years now can become better. Pierce can be better. All those guys, JMV, that we talked about over the years that have been drafted by them. A.D. Mitchell really has to step up in my mind, and I think he will because Reggie has made him his pet project. And I think he's done a really nice job of getting in his head during the preseason. I want to see it now carry over to the regular season. You're going to need those kind of guys to make plays, and that's going to allow Daniel Jones to do what? I don't need him to be Allen Iverson shooting the rock all the time. I need him just distributing the ball where it needs to go because that defense is going to take balls away. They're going to be like those Colts teams where if they can stay healthy, where Tony Gundy was always talking about if we can get 35 to 40 turnovers, Coach Lewis is going to dial that up too. And I think that's what you're going to see with this team. And they're going to have to start fast. And that's not going to be easy against Tua because he's one of the best guys in the league. But I think the thing with Tua, like any other quarterback in the league, if you can get pressure on him, which the Colts have said they can do now, that's going to make a difference. He's not comfortable in that pocket. He gets hit a few times. We know his concussion history. I'm not saying you want to do that, but we've seen him get hurt and they barely fell down. So you got to get some pressure on him. You got to make him uncomfortable, get him off platform, and that's going to be a key ingredient, I think, to the Colts on Sunday as well.
A lot of good points from Charles there, but of course, JMV, you noticed he started with the tight end position.
He did.
What a shock. Hey,
I
Charles,
got to. Hey, look, man.
You got to.
Hey, when I go to these coaches' visits in college now, I'm talking to Mike Shula today. I'm saying, hey, man, you got to get your coaches, you got to get your tight ends falls tomorrow. And I'm talking to the South Carolina State. I don't care who the coach I'm talking to. I want 5 or 6 every game. That's what they should get.
Hey, and you're right, because if you have a tight end that can make plays, it makes everybody around you more dangerous. It makes them worried about more on defense. But to that point, I think you're better off if you have 5 or 6, maybe not top-tier weapons, but if you have 5 or 6 guys that can do something with the ball, that might be better than just having one marquee, stud wide receiver, because you have to prepare for more, and you never know what direction the Colts and Shane Steichen can come from. And that's I see great flashes from all the positions, wide receiver and tight end, obviously. I think that can be more dangerous than having just one marquee guy.
Oh, I agree with you 100% because what it does is in the middle of the field for the Colts hasn't been a place where a lot of guys want to roam. I mean, they have guys that can do it, right? But you can't ask a slot guy to be the guy on 3rd and 5 to always go pick that up, right? You need a big physical receiver and a tight end. So for my money, I can put big Tyler Warren in the slot, get him moving around, doing different things with him, because I think that's what Shane wants to do. I think they want to do that with his skill set. But it doesn't stop you from having a guy like Josh Downs if he can. I know he was a little bit nicked up in the preseason, but it opens it up for him. It opens it up for, Pittman. It gets it. I'm just telling you, when you have to worry about a guy that's in between those hashes and in between those numbers, and a quarterback that can get it to him, that puts you on notice. And I think we haven't even seen them kind of design things that they want to do and kind of, throw guys open, create plays for different people. I think we'll see more of that now because we're getting into the season. And that's why I think Tyler Warren is a key component to this offense this year.
Former Colts tight end Charles Arbuckle, also a part of the Colts Radio Network. He's joining us on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Buddy, it's always a pleasure. We'll check in next week and see how this game goes on Sunday, and then preview the Broncos Week 2 matchup at Lucas Oil Stadium as well, Charles. Thank you.
Hey, guys, have a good one, man. Always good talking to you.
Charles Arbuckle on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. We're at Taylor's Pub in Nora again. Bud Light Blue Friday with Dolphins Colts tickets to give away, courtesy of our friends at Zinc and Bud Light. But I have a question to ask. We've got the Harris Hoosier Park race of the day coming up in a bit. But Hagan, this for you on the other side of tees. JMV and Hagan, what's more likely to happen this year? Colts make the playoffs or Daniel Jones wins comeback player of the year? We'll answer that with Hagan coming up on the other side, and your calls at 239-1070. If you want to go with the text line, 317-239-1070 as well.
What's the fax number? I want to get a fax.
Yeah, the big fax of the day. 239-1070 is that number. Rest of the way, live here, top of the hour, Colts Happy Hour. Don't go anywhere. The AAA Membership Lounge via YouTube Live on this glorious Friday, leading into a tremendous football weekend with 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
The Ride with JMV.
It takes him a second to get on the stool because he's under 5 feet tall.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
There's Kevin Paskey right there. Good to see you, Kev. Hagen JMV. We're at the intersection of Westfield and 86th Street. I see McCord over there. That's Greg McCord, pride of Carmel, Indiana. Bud Light Blue Friday. JMV Takeover tomorrow night. We may end up playing this. It is all about the 80s tomorrow night. Do you think we're going to play Mike Score at lead of the band, A Flock of Seagulls? Space Age love song. Chris Hagen, what do you think tomorrow night? Does that flow?
I like it. I like deeper cuts. You know,
Space Age love song.
Everybody knows
song.
Iran. Yeah. Everybody knows like so-called one-hit wonders. I like the deeper cuts. I always like, and you listen to First Wave on XM, and they'll always drop one. You're like, oh, I forgot about this one. Good stuff.
I know about them all.
Well, I do know, John, because you're the Rain Man of pop music from the 80s.
You know.
Here's the deal, John. You teased a question to me. Now, what's the damn question?
All right. This is a 317-239-1070. You guys can go ahead and give us these questions, and we'll answer them right now. That is the text line. JMV and Hagen, what's more likely to happen this year? Colts make the postseason or Daniel Jones winning comeback player of the year?
I think you can't have one without the other. If they make the playoffs and win 11 games, he's in the mix for comeback player of the year. If they don't make the playoffs, obviously he's not going to be comeback player of the year. So I think you have to say yes to both, or likely both, or unlikely both. And I think they're going to be a playoff team. I think they're going to win that division. Did you know the toughest division in the league last year was the NFC North? They combined for 65 wins. The worst division in the league last year was the AFC South. Now, granted, the Colts haven't won that crap division since 2014, but I think they got 2 home games. I think they're going to have some emotion. I think they're going to get out of the gate, and I like their chances to get to 10 wins and win that division and get back in the playoffs.
Do you like Houston in the South still?
No, I lied. I just told you.
No, I was going to lead to something else here.
Have you seen Houston the past few years when they've been division champion? Man,
I've also seen the Colts
that's a really
the
good football
years. Yeah.
What I'm saying is the gap. You're not trying to close the gap on the Bills or run down. You're not trying to run down the Chiefs or the Bills in the division. You're not trying to run down the Ravens. I mean, you're in the best division to get back to the top that you could be in all of football. And so I like their chances.
So, all right, you're hoping here for a change of scenery to do, Daniel Jones well or whatever, right?
I think this season could be similar to the one they had with Phillip Rivers, an older guy but still some tread on the tire. I think that we've seen quarterbacks around the league that were first-round picks that got sent packing from the teams that drafted them, and they've had a rebirth. We talked about it with Joel A. Erickson about scheme matching up with execution. And you don't need Daniel Jones to go win the MVP. You need him to take care of the football, execute, get the ball to those playmakers, hand the ball off 20 times a game to Jonathan Taylor. And I think you can go out there. Are you going to set records with total offense and points? No. But you only got to win by 1 point. I mean, that was an ugly win for the Eagles last night, but guess what? They're 1-0.
What if I were to tell you I think Liam Cohen is going to bring a great deal of good offensively to Trevor Lawrence
would look at
and
you
change
and
the dynamic there?
Duval. That's what I would say. Yeah, I do like him as
I can see that.
I could see him being coach of the year. I could see him, like that question just was, comeback player of the year, make the playoffs. I could see him taking something that might be construed as broken, and Trevor Lawrence, I mean, we've seen coaches get in the right spot, get their chance, and succeed quickly, and that could be the case there.
Johnny Howell wants to know what's more likely, Blake Shapen and Mississippi State making the college football playoffs, or Danny Dimes and the Colts making the postseason, Chris?
Of course, Johnny Howell has to try to hit me where I live. Way to go, Johnny. I think State will probably win the national championship, and we'll have a Heisman Trophy. No, I think the Colts far more chance to go to the playoffs than Mississippi State does of winning 7 games. Although, as I told you earlier, I like State in upset fashion tomorrow night over Arizona State.
317-239-1070 is the text line. What happens if the Colts start out the season 0-8? Does Chris Ballard get fired? Does the head coach keep his job? Chris Hagen, what do you think?
I'll tell you one thing. If they start out 0-8, I would be scared to go into the office on Monday morning, even if I was, the videotape coordinator, because I would say every head's in the chopping block if they're 0-8. Even before that, if you're 0-5, I start getting the resume together.
How does let's just say the essentials here, general manager and head coach, for example, how do they keep their jobs this season? What do the Colts do at minimum for them to maintain their positions?
3 words: make the playoffs.
That's it.
You have to make the playoffs. I don't care if you don't win the division, get a wild card. You have to have something, because we're getting to that point where, and I've talked to so many Colts fans, as I know you do when you're out in public. For years, there's been so much optimism. And the last couple of years, that optimism has vanished. You don't hear people excited about, instead of people saying, hey, how far are the Colts going to go in the playoffs, it's turned into, do you think the Colts will win 8 games? That's not the conversation you want to be having with your fan base.
No, I completely agree about that. Some questions to ask Chris Hagan of Fox 59. I know you guys got a pregame show coming up on Sunday too, right?
11:30, CBS 4. Now, I know you're used to seeing me on Fox 59, even though I've never been in a promo or on a billboard for Fox
Why don't
59.
they put you on the promos during games
I think
stuff, do they?
I'm too ugly to be in a promo.
What the hell are they doing over there?
Well, they try to say you don't need a promo. You've been here for so long. We got to hype up some of these newbies. But I'm going to start buying my own promos. You think they'll sell me some ad time and let me have my own
I think
commercial?
they should.
11:30 CBS 4 is the pregame show. Joel A. Erickson, Chris Woodlick, and myself down live on the sideline. That's at 11:30. Then you have the national show on CBS and Fox. Then the game is at 1 o'clock on CBS 4. But then back at night, John, you'll be back in the mix because the football season's back up. Fox 59 Sports Overtime. That's at 10:35. So, yes, I work a 13-hour day on Sundays. And, yes, JMV is back in the mix on Sunday nights on Fox 59. So,
there we go. See, there's your viewing audience right there, by God.
Now, I wonder, John, if the Colts do win, and we're talking about it, will you still have all this negativity, or will you be positive about a 1-0 start?
Negativity? Listen, I'm ready for some positive, man. It's the same old, same old. Get a little thing there. I think they're going to be 8-9. That's not that positive.
I like the way the schedule's set up. I like 2 home games. John's a little salty. I feel like we always say, there's never a must-win game.
Yeah.
But we said last year, and we were right, that week 1 was a must-win game. They lost, and what happened? This is a must-win game with all the emotion, honoring Mr. Irsay, honoring at some point, too, I would say Forrest Lucas, whose name's on the building. I think with all that out there, start of the season, in that streak, I think you're set off on a great course. But if you go out there and you put one in the punch bowl.
Jack it up.
Yeah, you're going to be like, oh, no, here we go again. If you had all this excitement and hype and you settle on a quarterback and you picked him for a reason to go out there and do certain things, and if he doesn't, well, they're going to say, right away, they'll be like, see, Richardson wouldn't have done that. Richardson wouldn't have done this.
Yeah.
So you got to go out there and prove you made the right decision by picking him up, by starting him, and go out there and win the football game.
Chelsea's going to rejoin us coming up in a minute, too. Here's a question. We'll answer this after we do the Harris Leisure Park race of the day. How can an organization keep their head coach and GM by just making the postseason when they have year after year continued to drop the ball? We'll ask you that. And then the whole Caitlin Clark thing, how reminiscent was that of like an Andrew Luck saga this past summer?
Peyton Manning saga.
No, listen, I knew Peyton Manning's situation, but nobody believed me at the time, remember. But Andrew Luck's, it just dragged on and dragged. Hey, he's going to be back. I think he might be back. Maybe he never came back.
Now, let me tell you what. This is not my conspiracy theory. So if you're listening out there, Pacers Sports and Entertainment, this is not my conspiracy theory. But I heard weeks ago that she was probably done for the season. And I heard some national writers saying that the WNBA didn't want that out there. That nobody wanted to say she's out for the year.
Well, they've completely blanked this up so far, so they might as well go all the way with it.
And I hear a lot of fans, that guy's eating a whole bag of chips. Look at him. There you go.
Hey, man, those are Cheetos, too, by God.
I love when my metabolism would allow me to do that. It is, so, it's like, how much did you know and when did you know it?
Yeah.
And a lot of fans are mad, fans that paid money for tickets, and they're saying you kept stringing us along and saying she was day-to-day and saying she was going to come back.
Everybody blamed the Colts for doing that, so why not blame the Fever for doing that?
So I think that those are questions that need to be asked. Like, at what point did you guys realize, hey, she's not coming back?
Exactly.
So you get down to now, the regular season ends on Tuesday, then you get the excitement of the playoffs. So to go this far, and, she missed 28 games, but she also missed the Commissioner's Cup game, which doesn't actually count in the standings. She missed the All-Star game in her hometown. So she missed 30 games, played in 13. Obviously, you want her 100% healthy. She means so much to the team, so much to the WNBA. But I think at some point they needed to say, hey, guys, you know what? She's not going to come back.
And the WNBA can still suffer, too, because nobody gives an absolute crap about it anymore. With football season
I would
going
disagree
on.
with you.
Seriously?
I think
cares
there
about it now?
are more fans than ever for the WNBA, and still credit to the Fever fans that have still gone out there, and credit to the team. They could have just folded up the tents, but here they are. They could clinch a playoff berth, albeit the 7 or 8 seed, which will be tough sledding. But Kelsey Mitchell playing at an MVP level.
She has been good. I'll give Kelsey Mitchell credit.
They have picked it up when they needed to. I think they'll make the playoffs, and now with the format fixed, they will get at least one home playoff game, which I think is good because it's been forever since they hosted a playoff game. But it's just disastrous for Caitlin, and you know how competitive she is. Even on the sideline, yelling at the refs and opposing players, this means the world to her.
Camera guys.
I just wish we'd have known a little bit sooner what the prognosis was.
Yeah, I think out of sight, out of mind right now in a huge way, regardless of what they've accomplished without a lot of bodies this year. All right, quick break. We'll come back. Bud Light Blue Friday finds us at Taylor's Pub. I know Chelsea's going to rejoin us for the final stretch here before the top of the hour. 50 in betting, 50 in dining. The Harrah's Hoosier Park race of the day to close out a Friday. Here it comes. Who is going to win? We'll find out now with the Harrah's Hoosier Park race of the day.
JMV.
Get him a body bag! Yeah! All right.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Here's Fisher Park race of the day. I love this. This is silver, Chris Hagan. Mark Sonneban is your winner. That paid $26.80 on a $2 bet. The $2 exacta, $157.20. 50-cent trifecta, $150.50. Harris Hoosier Park race of the day. Sonneban gets 50 in betting and 50 in dining, courtesy of Harris Hoosier Park Racing and Casino. That is in Anderson. Harris Hoosier Park race of the day, where they're racing until November. Check it out Tuesday through Thursday. You pick a horse at JMV 1070. You get your chance to win the Harris Hoosier Park race of the day. Chris Hagan, JMV. Chelsea is back from Taylor's Pub. We're in Nora. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you guys?
Hagan, how are you?
I'm adequate.
I've got the winners today. You guys, Dolphins, Colts tickets winners. You want to read a couple here, too?
Yeah, give me the easy name to say.
All right, you get these. You start, Hagan. Here are our winners. You guys listen up.
You give me the hard name to say.
Let's
call it Marie Koenig.
Marie Koenig.
Koenig.
Marie is a winner of Dolphins Colts tickets.
Where are you, Marie? Also,
Marie may be inside.
Scott Rossiter.
The
Rossilator.
They're inside.
The Rossilator. And I have a winner, Kathy Walpole. Shout out to the Walpoles. I love that group. They come out to every Bud Light Blue Friday. Kathy, congratulations. And Rod Insignix. That doesn't sound right at all. Rod, you got to write better. Rod. There, Kevin, come and set these folks up right here.
Marie.
They're winners. Now, you can't. Yeah,
Marie.
Kev,
is this you?
No, hey. Yeah, there we go.
There's
we'll
Marie.
give those to Kev right here. And
I need your ID and $20.
I believe this is Jay on the north side. Jeremy Rothstein, is that right? Rosenstein. Jay, where's Jeremy right there? My man, football toss winner. Go over there with Kevin and get it. Well done, Jeremy Rosenstein. A good first effort. Thank you, brother.
Now, did you throw it like a football or did you go underhand?
Bud Light Blue Fridays.
Okay.
Guys, thanks for coming. We'll do it again next week. Hey, Tommy S., I believe we're at Coach's Downtown next week for our Bud Light Blue Friday. So well done out of everybody right here. Thanks, partner. Appreciate that.
All hell's breaking loose, John.
We got everybody yelling at me right now.
But I will tell you this.
Remind me not to do that before the end of the show ever again.
Getting swarmed over here.
It's anarchy.
No, everybody is fired up right here.
And why not? It's week one.
Oh, go over there.
NFL season.
Go over there with Kevin. Yeah, I made my mistake by announcing that, didn't I? Huh? Yeah, exactly. Yes. And Bill Walpole, I'll tell you a story. Bill Walpole and his group have joined us for so many of these events over the years, and Bill passed away back in June.
Right.
And we wanted to make sure because we talk about, Jim Irsay's passing, Forrest Lucas passing, Jersey Johnny is another two. Some of the things we're playing for this year, all those that are no longer with us, and Bill is certainly one we're thinking about as well. You got that. We love Bill Walpole. Yeah. So anyway, thank you. That is Kathy. Kathy, you go see Kevin, and thank you. Hey, Kathy, thank you very much for coming out.
And you know what?
We're thinking about Bill. You got that.
And you
we
think
love
about
Bill.
all these folks, like true fans that'll be in that building.
Yes.
I think it's going to be raucous. I think it's going to be emotional. And you want to make sure it's not too emotional to start with. You want to be ready. I want to see them inspired but not overwhelmed with emotion, because they say the right things, but as Joel pointed out earlier, they are admitting this is a different kind of game.
Yeah.
And they really want to go out there and do something that Jim would have been proud of.
Chelsea, give us the weekend here at Taylor's Pub.
I'll tell you what, next time you announce winners and put me on this side of the table, we're going to fight. Getting a pet over here. I think I got somebody's balls on my shoulder.
What do you got this weekend?
We're ready for a great weekend. We've got the Sunday ticket here. We're going to have all the games on. Colts with sound. We've got wing specials, 10 wings for $10. Can't beat it. It's the place to be. So.
Love it, Chelsea. Thanks for having us.
Love being here.
Shout out to Kyle, too. Hagan, thank you very much.
We'll talk to you Sunday.
Got that Sunday. We'll be in the press box, too. Dev, great job out of you. We'll continue the show with Colts Happy Hour at the top of the hour. James as well, thank you. And everybody out there, the text stream, keep that going this weekend at 317-239-1070. I want to hear what you have to say about this. I'll see you at Bullseye coming up on Sunday morning as well, and the JMV Takeover tomorrow night is underway at 6 o'clock on B105.7. Colts Happy Hour straight ahead on this Bud Light Blue Friday. Zink, we love you with 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.